volunteering?
You don't remember what you had for breakfast.
I volunteered.
Of course you volunteered. Is there anything you don't do?
Well, she doesn't return phone calls, or emails, or texts, or...
Guys, come on. Can we just get back to work? We clearly have so much to do here, and the whole town is counting on us.
Sounds like someone's running for president.
No, he can't be running for president. He hasn't accused anyone of anything wrong.
Yes. It's still early, just give him some time.
So how did we get here on a Saturday morning? I feel like a member of the Breakfast Club.
Oh, my parents are obsessed with that movie. Don't we all have better things to do?
Homework.
Cartoons, start my fan club.
Mow the lawn.
How can you mow the lawn in the winter? The grass hasn't even started growing.
My dad is really strict.
I have to get started on my college application.
You're a freshman.
It takes me a while to get motivated.
Can we get back to work? Sorry. Listen, there's a lot to get done here, and none of it is going to get done by itself, right?
Right.
There are a lot of people counting on us, and I, for one, am not going to disappoint anyone, right?
Right.
There are a lot of memories in these boxes, and they need to be handled quietly and with the proper amount of dignity, right?
Right. Dignity? We're talking about a theater.
Well, maybe not a lot of dignity.
For the record, I did not agree to be here. I was given the choice of coming here or going to detention.
So why did you choose to come here?
My mom was involved in the decision.
I don't understand.
You see, when she went to school here in 1910...
Hold up. They had school when your mom was young?
Forget school. They had the wheel? Wait a minute. If your mom went to school in 1910, that makes her almost 40. Anyway, my mom said she spent some of her most happy times here and figured it'd be a good idea for me to come help pack up. Oh, that's why I'm here too. You know, my mom said she had a life before kids and expected me to find it in one of these boxes.
That sounds sort of sad, actually. All your parents' hopes and dreams locked away in some dusty old box.
I mean, I think it sounds sort of awesome. At least she knows where her happiness is. It must help with the disappointment of having you as a child.
Okay, I guess that's why I'm here too. I guess my dad used to sing. That was before he started his long career of yelling at my little brother for leaving his toys everywhere. Now he only sings in the shower. Anyways, I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but sometimes when he's yelling at my little brother, I can hear his sweet baritone coming through. That's weird.
Does anyone else here need to throw up, or is it just me?
Oh, well, I think it's cute. No, our parents were young ones too. I don't know it for a fact, but they say it's true. You know, the sanatorium does have a weird effect on people.
All right, nothing's going to get done by itself. You sound like my mom. It's not over until the fat lady sings.
I've noticed that too.
Station time saves 9.
Come to think of it, maybe you are my mom. I've never seen the two of you in the same room.
Come on, people! No moss grows on a rolling stone! Oh my god. It's happening to me too! Somebody kill me! I'm turning into my mother!
We must remember that while we are growing up, they are growing older. What's happening? Don't run with scissors. You'll poke your eye out.
Do as I say, not as I do!
Look both ways.
Don't run with scissors!
Take it with a grain of salt!
When your father gets home, kids are to be seen, not heard.
A penny saved is a penny made!
God, I feel cheap.
All right, everyone, step away from the boxes! I have no idea what is going on here, but it appears to me that we're all turning into our parents!
I don't know how to use my phone anymore. I don't know what Twitter is. It's too late. I'm becoming my mother.
Honey, can you help me with the internet? I don't know how to work the remote.
You programmed the VCR for me.
Wait, guys. I think I figured it out. By ignoring our parents and what's important something to do with the eclipse last night.
That's good.
But I think if we go about our business of relishing in these memories rather than denying their importance, we can escape a fate worse than death. After all, what could be worse than becoming my mother? I think you've been watching too much television.
No, she's right. I mean, what do we have to lose, really? Just our charm, youth, and good looks.
You know, I actually don't think we have a choice. I have an overwhelming desire to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the whole family.
Besides, guys, these things were important to them. Think about it. We've always had this auditorium here, and in a few weeks, it'll be gone forever. Maybe if we go through all of this stuff, we can understand them better, you know?
I'm willing to try, but I don't think there's one person on this entire planet who can help me understand why my dad wears suspenders and a belt.
Well, then you know what? Let's do it. Why don't some of us go get more boxes while you guys unload these boxes?
Yeah, when's everyone else getting here?
Wait, you mean to tell me that there's more?
There better be more. I can't actually be expected to lift anything.
Yeah.
Of course there's more. There's over 35 years of memories in this place. Only the building comes down with the wrecking ball.
It came in like a wrecking ball!
That poor thing. Yes, no idea. Where were we? Memories.
The building coming down will never take away the memories that happen between these walls.
Aww.
Or what happened in the lighting booth.
No one's there. Just walk away.
Hey, look what I found. York High School Drama Department to present Oklahoma. My mom always talks about this show. You see, my parents saw the 1983 production. Paul Nolan played Curly and Laura Clark directed the show. Eric Backey had to do the big kiss at the end. I only know this because my mom had a huge crush on Eric. Anyways, he was a freshman and he had to kiss a senior. My mom said that this was a scandal. Apparently the Kardashians weren't around yet. My mom always talked about how much she loved the music in the show, and how coming to see a show here was kind of a big deal. Everyone would talk about the show in school, and then after school, everyone would dress up like they were going out on a big date in the city. I bet a lot of people's parents met here, and maybe some of them even got married. My mom's favorite song for years was I'm Just the Girl Who Can't Say No. On second thought, maybe the Kardashians were here after all. Okay, I have a bit of a confession to make, and this is something that I've never told my mother. For years, I had always heard people talk about Oklahoma, but I had always thought that they had said, oh, glaucoma. And I could never figure out what a person with a very serious eye condition was doing wandering around in the Old West. I guess in the end, the last laugh was on me.
So, where can we put all the boxes?
Why are you asking me?
Well, someone needs to know where all these go.
We could always ask one of the boys.
What did you say?
Nothing.
I could have sworn you just said, why don't we ask one of the boys?
That's what I heard, too.
Well, I just thought that they might be better at this sort of thing.
What would Gloria Steinem say?
I think she might agree with me. That was taken out of context.
Girls can do things just as well.
If not better,
Then boys can.
I am a woman.
Hear me roar!
Well, I guess you're right. We don't need boys. Well, just to go out with.
And go to a movie, and to the beach, and to hold hands with.
Not just one boy. Just one boy in particular. One boy, one special boy, one boy to go with and walk with and talk with. One boy, that's the way it should be. That's the way it should. One boy, one certain boy, one boy to laugh with, joy to have hope with. Sure. Where do you want these boxes to go?
I don't know. I'm not in charge. Louisa, where do you want these to go?
I don't know. We just have so much stuff, and I'm not sure which piles go where.
Well, can we put these down somewhere? These are getting kind of heavy. Come on! I cannot be here all day.
Will you quit? You're complaining. She stopped complaining. That means she'd stop talking. I don't have a problem with it. Me either.
Hey, guys, look what I found.
What is it?
It looks like a racing form.
What?
It looks like a racing form for a horse race.
I've never.
Did we ever have a track around here?
No. We never had a racetrack around here. It's a prop from Guys and Dolls.
I've never seen him. What's it about?
You've never seen Guys and Dolls? We performed it here back in '99.
I wasn't born yet.
You always have an excuse, don't you?
Are you going to tell us about it?
I think we have a lot of work to get done.
We'll tell you about it.
I got the horse right here, his name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do. This guy says the horse can do. If he says the horse can do.
I go for Valentine, cause on the morning line, this guy's got
says the
it
horse
figured at
can
5 to 9.
But look at Epitaph, he passes by a half.
This
In
guy
quarter
says
to
the
this
horse
here
has
is
chance.
yellow crap. But
This
both
guy
red
says the
alright,
horse
I
has
guess
chance.
that's alright. I guess
This
the
guy
guy
says
calls the horse
has
red last night.
I go for Valentine, cause on the morning line, this guy's got it figured at 5 to 9.
And just the minute, boys, I got Springboks noise. This great grandfather was bred with poise. I shows Paul Revere, I shows no one steer. This guy says the horse shows real sincere.
I go for Valentine, shows the morning line, the show's guy says the horse shows 5 to 9.
I'm guessing Epitaph, he has by a half.
This guy
Quarter
says
to
the
this
horse
here
has
is
chance.
telegram. Epitaph,
Valentine,
I got the horse right here.
Top morning. So if someone can please tell me where these boxes are going, we can start unpacking them.
Now call me crazy, but I feel like we're just packing up just to unpack again.
I know.
Well, I just realized the building's coming down. I mean, it's one thing to actually have it happen, and it's another thing that it's not.
And?
And if they just didn't improve the height variance just a few months ago, we wouldn't even be here. Life is very tenuous. I mean, one moment you're here, and another moment you could be gone, like you never existed at all. Life is a void, an accident between matter and time.
Are you alright?
Oh, of course. I'm just practicing for a monologue for an audition I have coming up.
So that's packing. I'm with you.
You know, I'm not very good at this sort of thing.
Me either.
But I know who is. Nellie! I hear you. I've got ears, don't I? What's the problem? Well, we just have so much stuff, and I'm not sure which piles go where. I just want everything to have its place. You know, some things just don't seem to go together. I know what you mean. You know, a bird and a fish could fall in love. But where would they live? Think about it. Get them over there. Is it me? Is there something wrong with her?
What do you mean?
I don't know how to put this. You mind if I take a seat? Yeah, of course. Sit down. What is going on with her?
She kind of sounds like a old Jewish man.
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of tradition around here.
What do you mean?
Well, Her mom started filling out her roof when it was done here in 1985.
Apparently, she loved the show so much, she became a little obsessed.
If you don't believe me, you can ask her or her sister.
Seidel, Hodel, or Hava.
That sounds really serious.
It is. For a while, her mom thought she was Laser Wolf.
Laser Wolf?
You know, Laser Wolf, the butcher who was going to marry Seidel till Tevye, his dead wife, threw Masara, broke the whole thing off.
Anyway.
What?
Anyway. Her mom started to get better and realized she was actually a realtor in York.
So what happened?
No, she was fine at first. Dropping the kids off at school, shopping at Hannaford's. But then it happened.
What happened?
I'll never forget it. The year was 2000. A year like any other, really. And then they made the announcement.
They were going to produce Fiddler on the Roof again.
What?
She was fine at first.
Then she started wandering out in the fields and raising her hands to the sky.
That sounds awful.
It is. And if you listen really hard, you can almost hear the music.
We have lived here in our home for many years. Here in this auditorium, you see, we have lived for many years. It holds many memories for my people. We have done many things here. National Honor Society inductions, the Prom Grand March, Battle of the Bands, choral concerts, to name but a very few. You may ask yourself, why do we stay here with so much traffic? Answer? One word. Tradition. Aren't we getting a new auditorium?
After we pack up the old one, yes we are.
Well, then what are you guys just standing around for? Jeez, you're always wasting time.
See, we're ever gonna get this done in time. This place is more stuff in it than my grandmother's attic.
Everything's got its place. You just gotta find that place and put it there.
Ugh, God, we are turning into our parents after all. Oh, what is even in these?
Box. Oh.
I thought I would miss this old auditorium. Why did these never stay on the chair? No matter how many times I put them on, they just kept falling off.
No, we actually used to use them as props for acting.
I used to throw them at kids I didn't like.
I always used mine as a microphone.
Hey,
A hammer!
Whatever product it was we were selling.
a football.
A basketball. Well, it wasn't a very good basketball.
A prize. I'd like to thank the Academy.
I'd like to thank my family, my friends, and everyone I walked on.
You like me. You really like me.
All the things I'm gonna miss, these won't be one of them.
I have an idea. Why don't we give them out as gifts to people as they leave the auditorium?
Oh, I don't think we'll need to do that. If the people of York want something, they know how to get it.
Let's get back to work before comes back.
Look what I found. It looks like a bunch of old letters.
Can you imagine what would happen if people were actually allowed to read people's diaries in public?
You know, I kind of like the idea. We keep talking about this building like it's dead, like nothing ever happened in it. But really, when you think about it, the memories we have in this place and the love we have in this building is what keeps it alive. You could even say, the hills are alive with the sound of music.
Hey, what's wrong with her?
She spent the night in Kittery and hasn't been the same since.
Look, I got a letter. One memory I will never forget is when I was playing Maria in The Sound of Music. I had to climb out of the language prep room window in a wedding dress onto a snowbank in order to make my entrance in the back of the auditorium. We still joke about it today. Signed, Jen.
I've got one. George Perkins.
Who is that? Who's George Perkins?
You don't know who George Perkins is? He's been teaching drama for over a decade. People say without him, there wouldn't have been a drama department.
Can I get back to this? Where was I? George Perkins had so many years of experience to share with anyone who could stand still long enough just to soak it all in. I was there the year the light board was replaced with a computerized one. The old one looked so archaic next to it. During one of our productions of The King and I, the backdrop curtain rod broke on one side. So I made one of my crew members tie a rope around their butt and hold it up until intermission. In this building, I learned what happens when you overload an electrical circuit. I learned how to build things. I learned how to fudge things. But most importantly, I learned how to be a leader. Signed, Courtney.
Wow. George Perkins seems like quite the character.
You have no idea.
No, I don't.
I have no idea.
I've got one. As a student here, I performed at 8 auditorium shows, and all of our choral classes were in here. All of us in the back half of the auditorium singing to one of the best, if not the best, music directors in the state. The acoustics were terrible for what we were trying to do, but we managed. The partition in the middle was a huge pain in the neck, and it split us from the band practicing on the other side. Rob Westerberg definitely deserved more than what he got. Signed, Stacy.
My turn. I remember the pit bands. It was so cool to play with a full-blown band in tiny pit space for many of these shows. Joe Wright, Judy Bean, and Joe Rogers. So many I can't even remember them all. I recall enjoying the size of the pit space, though it was very cozy. You could literally see who was in the audience. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. Signed, Eric.
That bathroom situation was a pain in the neck. That small classroom-sized space off to the side was the cast dressing room, makeup room, and offstage left. It had 2 bathrooms for the cast, but pre and post-show, it was too chaotic to get in there. And during, it was too loud and the doors too squeaky.
The space in the woods was definitely limited. That's why many set pieces were put on wheels so that they could turn around and use it in different settings rather than completely do it off stage.
My booth was a bit of a house of ill repute.
I wonder how many kids they locked up back there.
The drops of paint all over the stage sort of tied things together from year to year. The number of hours we spent in the auditorium with just enough time to grab a snack and get back to school in time to rehearse, sometimes late into the night as the show got closer.
One cool thing I remember in the auditorium as they had brought in a wind talker, a Native American from World War II that helped create code messages.
The Rebels production stand out in my mind, and I bet other people remember them as well.
That damned wall in the middle of the place was a giant pain in the asterisk.
There were genuine tears at the end of every night, and the show definitely took the cast on an emotional journey.
Did I mention that the lighting booth was a house of ill repute?
I remember the DARE presentations.
I still have friends from all those years ago that I did shows with.
No matter what anyone else says, this building will always hold magic for me.
Me too.
All right, everyone, we can't just stand around here all day reading letters. Let's move it. Come on, everyone up. Hey, you just can't get good help nowadays.
I can't believe it. It's finally going to happen. After all my years, they're finally going to build an auditorium big enough to house all this talent.
party. My name's Coco, and I'm the biggest, baddest thing to hit this community since the new toll booth. I've always been told to think big, live large, and never take no for an answer. But unfortunately, some people just don't get me. You see, it's hard to make a comeback when you haven't really been anywhere. So that's why I act in shows. I don't really know who I want to be yet, so I try out different personalities to see which one best fits. It's a lot like trying on different shoes. If they don't look good on you, then obviously just change them. Someone actually told me not to judge anyone until I walk a mile in their shoes. So I did, and I ended up a mile away from everyone I knew. Maybe that was the point. Anyways, I'm ready for my close-up now. Hello? Anyone there? You can see my problem. I'm ready for the world, but maybe the world's just not ready for me.
I'm here because I wanted to say goodbye to an old friend. You see, I always felt safest when I was on stage.
No matter what kind of day I was having, whether it was good or awful, I knew I could come to the theater and feel at home. You see, I love to dance.
My mother said I could dance before I could walk. That's how I ended up here on this stage. Because things weren't always good for me at home, but I knew where I could find my escape.
Whether it was school or my sister or my dad, I knew I could come to the theater and feel happy.
You see, I knew that I wanted to dance.
I knew I wanted to sing.
And I knew I wanted to act.
I just wanted to be here.
So it didn't matter what anyone said about me.
It didn't matter that I wasn't happy.
And it didn't matter that I didn't always fit in.
It didn't matter.
Daddy always thought that he married beneath him. That's what he said, that's what he said. When he proposed to inform my mother, he was probably her very last chance. And though she was 22, though she was 22, though she was 22, she married him. Life with my dad wasn't ever a picnic, more like a compass of art. When I was 5, I remember my mother dug earrings out of the car. I knew that they were in hers, but it wasn't something we wanted to discuss. He wasn't born, well, not to her, well, not to us. Everything was beautiful at the ballet. Graceful men, lovely girls, I was happy at the ballet. When I started classes, up the steep and very narrow stairway, the boys like a metronome. Up the steep and very narrow stairway, it wasn't paradise, it wasn't paradise, it wasn't paradise. Mother always said I'd be very attractive when I grow up, when I grow up. Different, she said, with a special something and a very, very personal flair. Though I was 8 or 9, though I was 8 or 9, though I was 8 or 9, I hated her. Different is nice, but it sure isn't pretty. Pretty is what it's about. I never met anyone who's different. Couldn't figure that out. So beautiful, I never lived to see. But it was clear, if not to her, well then to me. Everyone was beautiful at the ballet. Every prince has far too happy a smile. Yes, everyone was beautiful at the ballet. I was pretty at the ballet.
It's okay. I mean, we have a lot to do here. It's not like we can just throw it all into one big heap.
Just want it to be done. I mean, how would you feel if we were just hacking, and then here comes the wrecking ball?
It came in like a wrecking ball!
Is she all right?
Oh, it's just a little voice inside of her. And what does it say? Singing. Let's move it! Let's go! Come on!
I never wanted to be on stage, rather I wanted to help create the magic. I love lighting and working sound. Face it, without people like me, theater would be pretty boring. However, technicians need the right tools to create their magic. I love this old theater, but just wait until you see the magic that we create in the new auditorium. However, I doubt it will match the magic that happened in the old lighting booth, if you catch my drift.
My parents love Elvis Presley. There's nothing he can do that would make my mother scream with excitement. And my father rolled his eyes at how silly she was being. But he loved that Elvis rode a motorcycle and wore a leather jacket. For him, there was no one cooler than Elvis Presley, which is why my parents loved when Bye Bye Birdie was done in 1978. Could there be a cooler musical?
Yes, easily. I will give you that Bye Bye Birdie was cool. It was set in the early 1960s and had leather coats and screaming girls, but where you had Conrad Birdie, I had Danny Zuko. You see, Grease was done in this auditorium twice. The first in 1997, then 10 years later in 2007. Grease is the word that you heard. It's got groove. It's got meaning.
What does that even mean? All my life and I have no idea what that even means.
Really? This coming from a person who loves a show with lyrics? You gotta be sincere, you gotta feel it here, and if you feel it here, then you gotta be sincere. Sounds like your Conrad Birdie needs some elocution lessons.
Birdie had a cool guy in a leather coat.
Well, Grease had a cool guy in a leather coat who had the ability to adapt for the woman he loved.
Birdie joined the army to support his country.
Well, Danny had his own army, his own set of girls, the Pink Ladies, and he could hand jive.
Birdie could make any woman faint just by wiggling his hips.
Well, Danny had Sandy.
Conrad had Kim.
Danny knew what it's like to be a girl on a summer night.
Birdie sang to his love on national television.
Well, Danny was an archetype of the new modern man. He represented the modernity of his time by evolving and changing his personality from a selfish Neanderthal into a fully emotionally aware man who could retain his individuality by turning himself into a better partner and husband.
I did mention that Birdie rode a motorcycle, didn't I?
So, do you give up? Do you concede that Danny Zuko was the coolest of the cool, the slickest of the slick, the baddest of bad? We love you, Conrad. Oh, yes, we do. We love you, Conrad, and we'll be true. When you're not near us, we're blue. Oh, Conrad, we love you.
What are you two doing?
We are having a mature discussion about who is the coolest person in the Canada musical theater.
I support Conrad Birdie from Bye Bye Birdie, and my opponent supports Danny Zuko from the seminal musical Grease.
So, you two are arguing about characters in a musical theater.
Yes.
You realize that makes you both geeks, right? And neither Danny Zuko nor Conrad Birdie would have anything to do with either of you. You realize that you two, people have never had this conversation unless they've been socially ostracized from the rest of the school. And you realize that, you guys are lame, right?
Yes.
Yeah, as long as you realize it. Oh, by the way,
Yes.
there's no one cooler than Danny Zuko.
Ha! Told you.
together, we go together like.
One of a kind, like
actually met in this auditorium. The show was Gypsy, which was done here in 1980. It's a show about Gypsy Rose Lee, the famous stripper, and my mom played one of the strippers, and, well, my dad hasn't changed much since then. Anyways, they did the show because my dad had really bad grades. He was on the wrestling team, and let his GPA slip too low, so the coach told him he could no longer be on the team. You know, I find it funny you have to maintain a certain GPA to be on a sports team, but they'll let almost anybody up here do the school show. Anyways, you know, he didn't want to tell his dad that he been kicked off the team, so he needed something to do after school. He was wandering the halls one day and heard some noise coming from the auditorium. He walked in, saw a bunch of girls dancing around on the stage, and as they say, he was hooked. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, why don't more guys do theater in high school? I mean, they get to hang out with great girls like me. And sometimes the director might even tell them that they have to kiss them. Well, anyways, my dad loves to talk about how the pressure of putting on a show and having an immovable deadline brought them closer together. You know, when he talks about it, it makes it sound like a fairy tale. Sparkling lights and music and dancing. And he talks about the magic of the theater. Some of that magic still stays in their marriage. Actually, he does tend to make all of his big life decisions based on the shows we go see. Probably explains why I'm so nervous about seeing the Book of Mormon. But enough about me. Let's get back to work!
Did you know that the school was built in 1977, but the first show wasn't put on until 1978? I hadn't been born for more than 20 years after that.
Adults don't like it when you say things like that.
Why not?
It makes them feel old.
So what do I say then?
You can say the same thing. You just have to say it a little bit louder.
What was the #1 movie the year that the school was finished?
Star Wars.
Some things never change.
Hold on, let me see that. It says that Saturday Night Fever was released. What's that?
I think it was a sickness from Africa that made people dance. Laverne and Shirley was the #1 TV show. Annie Hall won Oscar for Best Picture, and You Light Up My Life was the big record that year.
It kind of makes you think, doesn't it? Hey, did you know that the current auditorium is only 256 seats?
So why are there only 150 armrests?
The new auditorium will have 750 seats.
And it better have 750 armrests.
Well, you know, over 35 different musicals have been performed here by the high school, the middle school, the rec department, not to mention countless other things like classes, assemblies, concerts, Coffee Palooza, Battle of the Bands, and more.
8 musicals were performed here more than once, but there is one clear winner. One musical was performed here 4 times. Yes, 4 times. Does anyone know which one?
Godspell.
Oh, that's right, Godspell.
Godspell was performed here in 1981,
1994,
2006,
and 2012.
You know, I bet if we really tried, we could probably name all the Broadway shows done here in the past 38 years.
Yeah, but we can't just list them all off. I mean, we are theater kids, and that wouldn't be very creative.
Who said anything about just listing them off? I'm sure we can do way better. Hey, I just got an idea. Give me a beat. It's been 38 years since we had a way, and it's never been forgotten. It won't today. We'll see you sing, and yes, this is what we're here to do. And we'll bring us down. Oh, we're
3 decades of horror, theater, and fun. You'll listen all the performers of this. So just sit back and laugh and watch what we'll do.
Bring us down.
Before we
Hey! you miss it? So don't you miss it? So don't you miss it?
Bertie was the first to play, caught her sincere. Irene couldn't find her way, she was so unclear. Gypsy Lee shook her stuff, she grabbed a paper crane. Sound of music not to lose was her favorite thing.
Oklahoma had it and sprang through the field. Once upon a mattress had a girl who would not yield. On the beach of South Pacific, Nelly so aloof made her sort of nervous like a fiddler on the roof.
So don't you miss it? So don't you miss it? So don't you miss it? So don't you miss it?
Anything would go and fame would rule the day. Kiss me, King Carousel had our games to play. Brigadoon had the Moors, King and as I am. Babes and Arms and Carnival had the perfect plan.
Mame was the lady who truly had it all, but the guys wanted more, they wanted their own doll. Grease was the word that waited for the bell, and we did 4 times like Godspell.
Merrily we roll along, had so much to do. Westerberg had the helmet, pulled us all through. So we sit back, relax, and watch what we will do. And we'll
Bring this house down!
forward through.
So don't you miss this? 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 You just missed this!
My parents and I always loved watching The King and I on television starring Yul Brynner. But my parents first saw it here in this auditorium in 1996 when the drama department played. For me, it was all about seeing a world far removed from my life in New York. I loved the music, I loved the dancing, and I loved the spectacle and glitter of a world I had never seen before. I used to jump around my room singing, "Shall we dance 1, 2, 3, and..." My mother would tell me to stop and come down for dinner. And even though I loved the music, what really spoke to me was how a woman who had suffered such a great tragedy could pick herself up and travel to a whole new world. Up until that time, I had never seen a woman so strong, so determined to do what was best for her family and to start all over again and make a new life. The strength and determination it must have taken her even touched me as a 10-year-old kid. Wanda became my role model. Also opened my eyes so that I could see that sort of strength right in my own home. I didn't have to go to the theater to see a strong, unstoppable woman. I just had to look and see my mom. The theater didn't make my mother strong, but it opened my eyes so that I could see that strength right in my own home.
You know, the more I pack up, the less excited I am about seeing this old building go. I always felt like I grew up here, and in a way I did. But it was never about the lights, or the sets, or the costumes. Well, it was a little bit about the costumes. But for the most part, it was about the people who did their work here.
How can you talk about someone like George Perkins without standing back and wondering how one person could have done so much? For more than 10 years, there's no job in the department without him. This building may be forgotten, but never him.
You can't say the name George Perkins without talking about Laura Clark. She had a way about her. Something that no one else had.
Stuart Miller could make you feel at ease with yourself and give you the confidence you never knew you had. Suzanne Bove made sure that everything was ready. She made sure that everything was perfect. We were not in the Rebels without Joanne Connolly. She showed us that everyone could sing if you sang from the voice that was in your heart.
Whenever anyone talked about excellence, passion, and a love for their art, you know you would hear the name Rob Westerberg. Without him, this school wouldn't have a voice.
And who could forget Holly McAdam and what she brought to the table?
Musicals with the message were the specialty of Michael Crockett. He always made sure we got the message.
And then there was always that guy who wanted it louder and faster. For him, it could never be too big.
Although this building may be torn down, these memories will live with us forever. Kiss today goodbye. The sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck the same to you. But I can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. Look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always and I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for love.
Gone, love is never gone. As we travel on, love's what we'll remember.
Kiss today goodbye and point me towards tomorrow. Point me towards tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for love. Love is never gone. As we travel on, love's what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye and point me towards tomorrow.
Point me towards tomorrow.
We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for My dad always loved to sing. As a kid, I remember he would put me on his lap and play piano and sing with his smooth baritone voice. And I tried to match pitch with his, but I didn't have very much luck. Anyway, when my dad was a freshman in York High School, he decided to audition for the school show, Godson. And he got the lead role. But you see, my dad came from a very sports-oriented family, so he didn't think that getting the lead role in the school show was a big enough accomplishment to brag about to his parents. So he just casually mentioned the dates for opening night to his parents. So when they came to see the show, they were shocked. My dad always told me that my grandmother cried through the whole show from beginning to end. I decided to audition for the school show. And by some weird twist of fate, the school was doing God stuff. You see, I got to be in the very same show and in the very same auditorium as my dad. For my family, this auditorium is so much more than just a building.
All right, enough wasting time. There is a lot of things that we need to get done today, and we can't just stand all here talking about yesterday when we have things we need to get done today, right?
Did your mother have any children that lived?
What are you saying?
What am I saying? I'm saying we still clearly have so much to get done here, and the town is still depending on us, and in 2 weeks, they're going to bring in the wrecking ball.
It came in like a wrecking ball! I'd like to hit her with a wrecking ball.
All we are saying is that we should embrace these memories. You see, a free society is a choice made by selfish people seeking to escape the war of each against all others. Free society is lost when man deviates from his nature and transgresses upon thy neighbor.
You've never been in a musical, have you?
No. I was actually just looking for the bathroom.
Yeah, it's over there.
Thanks. That was Thomas Hobbes, by the way.
I knew that! Well, maybe she's right. Maybe we are being a little too sentimental. I mean, this theater is so old. How old is it?
You should never ask her things like that.
This theater is so old.
Here we go again.
This theater is so old, its social security number is 1.
This theater is so old it used to babysit Yoda.
This theater is so old, she knew the Burger King when he was only a prince.
This theater is so old and the Grand Canyon was just a ditch.
This theater is so old, it was first owned by the Flintstones.
This theater is so old, she knew the Dead Sea when it was just getting sick. This theater is so old, she remembers when rainbows came in black and white.
This theater is so old it farts dust.
Its birth certificate expired.
And lastly but not least,
This theater is so old, she acted as a waitress at the Last Supper.
I got the horse right here. His name is Paul Revere. No one writes lyrics like that anymore. Guys and Dolls was always a favorite of my dad's and mine. Based on 2 short stories by Damon Runyon, premiered in Broadway in 1950, later here in York in 1999. I don't know, I always just loved the idea of a bunch of swells dressed to the nines in pinstripe suits and fedoras, always looking for the nearest craps game. You know, my dad saw the show here, but I fell in love with the movie at home. I loved it so much that I started calling girls dames and spent a lot of time in alleyways playing craps. This disturbing behavior of mine caused me to be sent to the principal's office on more than a few occasions to discuss my deviant behavior. I had to go to Gamblers Anonymous and attend a bunch of classes where I could learn how to treat people with respect. Seems like a guy can't look for a doll anymore without getting in trouble.
I'm here to speak for the chorus. You know, those people that go to all the rehearsals, work just as hard, and usually show up to help. You know, those people that come out in the first line who you don't remember because you're too busy waiting for the ones that have more to do. Well, I'm usually in that first line. Thank you.
Hey, look what I found. An old program from The Sound of Music. 1982. My grandmother was in that play. She talks about it as if it were yesterday. I can still hear her singing my favorite things when she's out in the garden. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Anyway, I remember watching it on television for the first time, with Julie Andrews, of course, and her singing the songs the entire way through. You know, no one can sing those songs like Julie Andrews, including Carrie Underwood. Anyway, I remember sitting on my grandmother's lap and how warm and cozy it all felt. You know, she told me that's how she met Grandpa. He was in the school play too, and he couldn't sing or act, but he did the show just to be close to her. They started dating soon after and got married right out of high school. They were married for more than 50 years, and she still sung those songs every day. You know, Grandma isn't with us anymore, but I do have that memory. And I can't think about the sound of music without thinking of her or my mother. And, you know, there was always that one song that my whole family loved, and we'd always sing it together.
matter.
Oh, how many stage managers does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
None. Just do it.
Ooh, how many students does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
None, because we're going to have to do it again anyways. Oh, how many audience members does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
3. One to do it, one child to cry, and one old man to go, "Hey, look, Rose, she's changing the light bulb."
Why is it that we're doing all the work and you four are just standing here?
Oh, that's easy. We're seniors.
I just hate being a freshman.
My parents used to love to talk about Once Upon a Mattress, which the drama department did here in 2006. For those of you who don't know, it's basically a musical based on The Princess and the Pea story. Still no? Anyway, this prince had to find a bride because, well, that's what princes do. But his mother was a bit overbearing, so every woman he met, she would put through a series of tests, and of course the girl was destined to fail, so the prince would never marry. So the prince was running out of people to date, sort of like the problem I have all the time. So his mother decided to invite over a neighborhood princess to the castle, and sort of like my mom trying to set me up with one of her best friend's son, who has an overbite and doesn't realize that wearing checks and stripes together is not allowed in most of the civilized world. I do tend to go on, don't I? So the prince's mother decided to put a tiny pea underneath 20 mattresses to see if she would notice, and you will never believe it, but she did. My parents love this story, but apparently not enough to buy me a mattress I can get a good night's sleep on. Apparently, I'm waiting for the musical produced by Sealy Posturepedic.
Oh my god. Wow. Wow.
Wow. Just look at it. It's so big.
Never thought we'd finish it.
Me either.
It just shows what we can do when we put our minds to it.
What did the custodian say?
It's your mess. You're gonna clean it up.
You're right, someone's gonna get in a lot of trouble.
There are a lot of memories in those boxes. Most of them are mine.
Some of them are mine.
Mine too.
I'd be hard-pressed to pick out a favorite.
I bet I could pick out one or two.
It's almost as big as my ego.
It's crazy to think all these memories can fit in boxes.
So now where are we going to keep them?
Well, that's easy. We'll have to keep them with us.
Who writes this stuff?
We're not made up of these memories.
These memories are made up of us.
And we'll be busy making new memories while keeping the old ones near.
So now what?
I hate to say it, but I think she might be right this time.
So if this is our past, then it's time to pack it up and make way for the future. vacation.
You know, I feel like I'm going to lose part of myself when it goes.
Yeah, me too. I kind of feel like this building is a member of my family.
I think we have it all wrong.
Me too, you know. It's not the building or the seats.
Or the armrest.
It's not about the brick and mortar. It's about the friends that we've made here.
It's about the joy. Found you.
It's about his friends.
The really good friends. You know, I'm feeling a lot better about this now. I can't wait to come see a new show in a brand new auditorium.
Me too.
And the best part is that I will not be going to see that show alone.
Yes, you will.